I love games. You love games. Your tough little friend is also a game freak, which absolutely means everybody loves games. Games deliver every audience with a valued amount of satisfaction. When it's a video game, the amusement derived can become limitless. However, as exciting as video games can be, they can also turn out to be an annoying creative. Do you know what I'm talking about? Game delays. I mean, it's barely over a month into the year 2020, and we game lovers can conclude already that this year has proven itself to be the year of uncontrolled video game delay. Can you imagine our much anticipated game of the year, Cyberpunk 2077, getting delayed again? Not to mention that the delay for the game came in right after another significant game delay crowded up Cyberpunk's initial anticipated April release month. It's been a long wait for fans since the first teaser trailer was released all the way back in 2013, and thanks to the recent delay, the wait just got longer. Straying a little away from Cyberpunk 2077, and we will still end up encountering a vast list of major releases that have been delayed for later periods in the year. Even though Sony has recently announced that Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima will be released in the summer of 2020, no exact date has been fixed. And you know what that means? They can always run its delay without having to announce it ahead. Over time, more big games of 2020 have been delayed, and even though Cyberpunk 2077 may have been the most notable of them all, it's essential to know that many AAA game titles have also been pushed back, and our list for today goes over some of them in order of their delays. 10. Skull and Bones. Great game company Ubisoft made an announcement back in May of the year 2019 that their long-expected pirate game, Skull and Bones, would be delayed until some period after the March of 2020. A more solid step to confirm this delay, the developers of the game went ahead and posted on Twitter that they'll be back as soon as they can with further updates. However, just like they would always do, the account hasn't made any other tweets since May of 2019. Fans are unlikely to hear any additional information about this game from the developers until E3 2020. It's not wrong to conclude that its cancellation won't be as surprising as it should. 9. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Do you think Cyberpunk 2077 is the only big game release that was delayed? Well, I hate to break it to you, but it isn't. Just like Cyberpunk 2077, the Final Fantasy VII Remake that was announced by its developers Square Enix to be released in March of this year has also received a successful little pushback in the premiere to the 10th day of April 2020. This was done in order for the developers to be able to add in some essential finishing touches. The producer's own words, "We are making this tough decision to give ourselves a few extra weeks to apply final polish to the game and to deliver with you the best possible experience. I, on behalf of the whole team, want to apologize to everyone, as I know this means waiting for the game just a little bit longer." They apologized, then let's make it a no big deal, right? 8. Cyberpunk 2077. You thought we weren't going to talk about this anymore. Seriously. It was just 2 after Square Enix initiated their crazy Final Fantasy launch date that CD Projekt Red announced it would delay Cyberpunk 2077 from April 16, 2020 to September 17th. That September is usually a popular month for video game releases. CD Projekt Red's announcement simultaneously added in a breathing space to April. The announcement, CD Projekt Red made clear that Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer won't come until 2022. Though many fans of the game are disappointed in this news, there's totally nothing they can do than just sit with their bowl of popcorn and finish watching this video. 7. Iron Man VR. The most anticipated virtual reality game of 2020, Iron Man VR, a sort of follow-up to 2018 PlayStation-exclusive Marvel Spider-Man game, just got hit with a delay. Announced Marvel's Iron Man VR in March 2019, and about a week ago, Iron Man VR was announced to have been delayed from Feb to May 15, 2020. Iron Man VR is going to be a game that puts players in Iron Man's suit with the aid of PlayStation VR and PlayStation Move, and since the game depends on key PlayStation components, its release was delayed considering that PlayStation VR exclusive will be released on May 1 of 2020, the exact same date as the release of Marvel's Black Widow. 6. Marvel's Avengers. The first big Marvel game to be released since the end of the MCU's Infinity Saga, we should be ready to expect the occurrence of anything that would make the game just beyond perfect, at least what we hope for. Means the originally slated release date of May 2020 has now been comfortably shifted to September 4th of this year, positioning it to be one of the biggest games coming out in fall of this year. And for Cyberpunk fans out there, don't worry, as you're still going to have a 2-week experience with Marvel's Avenger before Cyberpunk gets released. Crystal Dynamics gave no specific reason as to why the game has been delayed, but wrote in his own words that, "We will spend this additional development time focusing on fine-tuning and polishing the game to the high standards our fans expect and deserve." Through the pre-release footage that has been available for some time now, seems a bit poor for such a classed release, we can still expect to see the best. 5. Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Remember Nintendo's Animal Crossing game series for iOS and Android devices? Good, because they just delayed the latest series, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Planned to launch sometime in 2019, this Nintendo series has now been scheduled to launch March 20, 2020. Nintendo made the decision in order to limit developer crunch, that situation whereby game developers are forced to work harmful amounts of overtime ahead of a game's release. 4. Doom Eternal. Scheduled to have the sequel to id Software's 2016 Doom reboot premiere in late 2019, Bethesda announced in October 2019 that Doom Eternal was delayed until March 20, 2020, a date that only applies for the non-Nintendo Switch versions of the game, which means Switch fans are still waiting on a set release date. Additionally, Bethesda announced that the Dark Souls-like invasion mode won't be available until it's added in a free update after launch. If you've been following, then you must have realized the game will resell the same day as Animal Crossing. You missed that, didn't you? 3. The Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us is an action-adventure survival horror video game that took over the PlayStation market in 2013, but since this year has decided to clone itself into a delay, The Last of Us has also followed suit. After the Doom Eternal delay, the developers of The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog, confirmed that the highly anticipated PlayStation exclusive wouldn't be released until May 29, 2020. The sequel to one of the PS3 generation's best games, fans were likely disappointed to hear The Last of Us 2 delay pushed the game back 3 more months. The announcement was also particularly surprising because, oddly, it came just 1 month after the game's previous February 2020 release date was announced. 2. Watch Dogs, Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Gods and Monsters. I don't know what to say, and maybe we should just stop this list because it seems 2020 is simply taking after 2019. Exactly the same day as Naughty Dog's delay, the popular Ubisoft announced that 3 more of its games, Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Gods and Monsters, had been delayed. Join Ubisoft's other delayed title, Skull and Bones, in its vague post-April release window, leaving the company with little else planned for 2020 other than Roller Champions and the Tom Clancy's Elite Squad mobile game. Sometimes I feel these guys just plan it all up in some coven rooms, probably to spice up the anticipation. 1. Dying Light 2. Though you probably might not hear much about the game Dying Light, as it was somewhat under the radar, the game has managed to combine great combat with parkour. And in a recent announcement made by the developer, Dying Light 2 that was scheduled for the spring of 2020 has been delayed to a period further into the year. The game is planning on advancing upon the core of the original while also adding interesting moral choices and storytelling with the help of lead writer and industry veteran Chris Ayalone. Is currently no new release date for Dying Light 2, but a tweet from developer Techland said, "We were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release with Dying Light 2, but unfortunately, we need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more to share in the coming months, and we'll get back to you soon as we have more information." And that makes the end of our delayed game list for today. You know which games to expect this year and when to expect them now, right? So why not tap like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bells for more awesome and interesting facts like these. See you in the next video.